The best division race in baseball figures to come down to this. What's more crucial over these coming weeks, the Mets schedule or the Braves momentum? Welcome into BPTV, Cory McCartney, along with Grant McCauley with you as always. And Grant, the answer to that question figures to loom large with the NL East deficit at just a half game going into Friday. New York, of course, has the easiest remaining schedule, but no one has been hotter than the Braves, who are 22-8 in their last 30 games and have baseball's best record since June 1st.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a question that we could be revisiting basically every day, if not at least every series, when it comes to the Mets schedule and if the Braves have maintained their momentum. They certainly started this 8-game road trip out with the exact kind of momentum they need, sweeping an Oakland A's team that should be swept by a team like the Braves. Now the challenge gets a little bit different because you've got a club in the Seattle Mariners that is just about as hot as the Braves have been since August the 1st. Only two fewer wins between Seattle and Atlanta over that time stretch. So basically since the trade deadline. And then you've got a Giants team that, I know you and I have always talked about trap series or not overlooking a series or a game or an opponent. I think the Giants might fall into that category. And our old friend Jock Peterson has been red hot lately as well. So this is still a pivotal road trip. Yes, the Mets have the easier schedule down the stretch until they meet the Braves, but Atlanta has just shown really no signs of slowing down.
Well, I think the contrast in those paths to a division title, I mean, they're really clear this weekend. You mentioned that the Braves are going to have to go to Seattle to face the Mariners, who are the owners of the American League's best record since June 1st. We use that as a target date. Obviously, they're in, wild card position. Meanwhile, the Mets are taking on the Marlins, who have the second fewest wins in baseball in the second half. And I mean, but just because they're serving up cupcakes doesn't mean that you're going to dine on them. The Mets just allowed to come by 22 runs over 3 games against the Nationals and the Pirates. But it certainly does matter that the Mets have 2 series against the Marlins, a matchup with the Cubs, Pirates, and A's, with the Brewers the only winning team before they get to that September 30th series at Truist Park. For the Braves, the lead up has 10 games versus teams in postseason position. The Mariners, along with the Phillies, the Giants, who you mentioned are tough, they're above 500 at home, but 10 and a half games back since when June began. The Braves moved into a tie atop the division this week, and that is really key because it was the latest into a season they've done that for the first time since 1916. That was back in September 4th that year. But of course, last year it was the Mets collapse, but this year it's the Braves hot streak. And if you're the Mets, it has to feel like just when you think you have the answers, the Braves go and change the questions.
Yes, they have, much like Rowdy Roddy Piper, who we have the utmost respect for. And, the Braves have the utmost respect for the Mets. I'll point that out as well, because this has been a worthy opponent all season long. But to me, this feels like shades of the 1993 race in the National League West between the Braves and the Giants. The Giants were a great team. They won, 103 ball games that year. The Braves won 104 because they chased him down in the second half with the kind of hot streak that the 2022 Braves are on. So I'm fascinated to see how this all plays out. Yes, you can look at the schedule, and on paper, it can be as easy as it looks for the Mets, but it can get more difficult game to game, and especially when you have to deal with injuries or just underperformance, which no team is immune from. And this time of year is the time in which you can't really afford that underperformance. But this Braves and Mets thing, I still feel like this is going to come down to, of course, that big 3-game series that they're going to play in Atlanta at the end of September. But then there's a whole series after that. So this could be a photo finish all the way down to the wire between the Braves and the Mets.
So it's off to Seattle for the Braves. And the last time that they played in Seattle, Rookie of the Year candidates Michael Harris II and Julio Rodriguez were middle school age. It's been a minute since Atlanta made a trip to the Pacific Northwest, who will play their first series there since 2014. Young stars just figured, I think, to be the prevailing storyline here. No team in baseball has gotten higher value out of their rookies, with the Braves leading all of baseball in rookie Fangraph WAR. The Mariners top the American League. There's a good chance that both years' Rookie of the Year winners are going to be on the field there. Harrison, Spencer Strider, who unfortunately won't be pitching in this series, but with the Mariners, you've got Rodriguez. There's Vaughn Grissom for the Braves, of course. Seattle has pitchers George Kirby and Andres Munoz. Youth, Grant, is going to be served up big time in this series.
Yes, it most definitely will. And I think the two focal points of these clubs are exactly who you mentioned when it comes to the Rookie of the Year race. Yes, Spencer Strider is in that mix, but I want to put him to the side because we won't see him in this series, like you mentioned, and focus on Michael Harris II and Julio Rodriguez. Now, everybody got to see on the national stage in the Home Run Derby just how special Julio Rodriguez is. And it's not just limited to home runs. He, like Michael Harris, is a great defender. He steals bases, he hits home runs, and he is 21 years of age. So the best is yet to come. And the case is for both of these guys, they got long-term extensions. They're going to be with their respective clubs for some time to come. But this Rookie of the Year race in the National League certainly is fascinating. But Seattle has been enjoying their own just rookie renaissance, if you will. And it's been a big part of their success as well. You look at Julio Rodriguez, he has a baseball reference WAR of 5. He's done that in 120 games. Michael Harris, Baseball Reference WAR, is 4.4. He's done it in 90 games. Harris is out OPSing Julio Rodriguez, which might surprise some people at first blush, but there's a 40-point differential in batting average. There's a 15, 16% or point difference in their on-base percentages, and Harris is actually outslugging the guy that put on the best and most exciting show in the home run derby that I think we've seen in a couple of decades. So I'm really excited to see these guys, not in home run hitting contests, but in this 3-game series, really show out and star for their teams. It's really what I'm expecting. Yeah, Spencer Strider's not going to pitch in this series. We will see George Kirby. That should be, I think, fun if you're a baseball fan. Maybe not as much fun for the Atlanta offense, because he has kind of been their alternate, if you will, from the Harris and Strider tag team that the Braves are running out there. I feel like it's been Rodriguez and Kirby who've been going for those titles in the American League and specifically for Seattle.
Yeah, the only 2 teams in baseball who have a rookie in the top 5 in position Fangraph WAR and pitcher Fangraph WAR as well. Obviously, Michael Harris, the second leading all position players, and Rodriguez is tied with the Orioles' Adley Rutschman for the American League lead among position players. So, I mean, just some dynamic players that we are going to see show out big time, I think, in this series. Looking at the pitching matchups, you got Charlie Morton against reigning AL Cy Young winner Robbie Ray on Friday, Max Fried against the aforementioned George Kirby on Saturday, and on Sunday, the Mariners roll out Marco Gonzalez. The Braves have yet to announce their starters. 2 lefties there, and Ray Gonzalez. The Braves just keep killing left-handed pitching. They saw 2 in Oakland in a couple wins. They have the league's second best weighted run created plus, OPS, weighted on base average, and third best average against southpaws. This is going to be a big test for both these pitching staffs. Grant, Seattle has 6 players in this lineup hitting above league average in the second half. The Braves have 7 such players.
Yeah, it really will be. And I think that Seattle, I mean, we looked at the slow start that they had early in the season and some of the players that they went out and got, in particular, Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez that they got from the Reds, were kind of underperforming. They just got Mitch Haniger back. He's missed a bunch of time this year. They're without Kyle Lewis. They're without Jared Kelnick. They're both in the minor leagues, but Seattle has just been able to find the pieces that they need, get them plugged in, and guys have gotten hot. Guys like Cal Raleigh. Nobody had really heard a whole lot out of him. He's been a home run hitting machine behind the plate for them and a big part of their success. These are the kind of players that you may not know a lot about, but you might find out in a hurry are the reasons that the Mariners have been as successful as they are. One other thing that I did look at in this matchup between these 2 clubs is that the Mariners are actually a better team on the road than they are at home. They're 36-30 at their home ballpark at T-Mobile Park, but the Braves are a great road team. Not as good as they are at home, but they have a better road record than the Mariners have home record. I don't know that that really says a whole lot when you talk about the momentum these 2 clubs have, but when it comes to evenly matched across the board, I think it's going to be really fascinating. These pitching matchups, in particular, game 1, you got the 2 veterans going against each other. Charlie Morton, 175 strikeouts. Robbie Ray, 183 strikeouts. They're both among the major leagues leaders in that category, and they're both right now going to be looking to pile up as many punch outs as they can, because it's always good to grab the first game of a series so that you have a chance to take 2 out of 3 and just know that you're not leaving anywhere and getting swept in a time of year that you can't afford to be swept.
I mentioned this is the first time since 2014 the Braves have been out there. I think it's important to note that with the new schedule change, that's going to change. Every other year, at least Seattle fans know they're going to be seeing the Braves, vice versa. So we won't have these long droughts like this going forward with that new schedule that's coming out beginning next season. 25 games left as the Braves continue their drive for 5 straight division titles. So make sure you come along here with the ride with us right here on BPTV. Subscribe, turn on notifications, tell a friend, help us keep this thing growing. And of course, you can find us on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. This week will be on Saturday from 12 to 2, so you won't want to miss that. Until next time, I'm Cory McCartney. He's Grant McCauley, and we'll see you soon, Braves Country.